All right, let us begin. Let's continue from yesterday. Let's take a look at the multiplication of the complex number. Okay. So let's take a look at this example. I want to multiply the radical negative 9 times the radical negative 4. What should we do? Well, we have a negative inside the radical. So immediately we have to take care of this. So we will make this becomes the radical 9 times the radical negative 1. Oops. For the radical negative 4, we will make it becomes the radical 4 times the radical negative 1. So that will give me 3i multiply the 2i. So that will give me 6i squared. So that means is negative 6, because I squared is equal to negative 1. Now note that, be careful, don't fall into this trap. Radical negative 9 times the radical negative 4, that is not equal to radical negative 9 times negative 4 like this. They are not equal. We cannot apply the real world rules into this imaginary number. So we have to bring it back to the real world first, and then we apply. When we say the radical A times the radical B is equals to the radical A times B, that is correct, but both A and B are real number, and the radical A and radical B, they are real number too. And so we cannot apply into that situation because we got the negative inside the radical. So the very first thing you need to do, you have to take care the imaginary number. You have to take care the negative inside the radical. Let's try another one. If I want to multiply the radical negative 3 times the radical negative 5, then what should I do? The very first thing we need to do is take care the negative inside the radical. So I have a radical 3 times I pull out the radical negative 1, and then times the radical 5 times I. And then I will have the negative 15 times the I squared. Hey, can I times the radical 3 and radical 5 together in this case? Yes, we can do that because radical 3 and radical 5, both of them are real number. Right? So we can apply the real world rules to times them together under the same radical. And finally, the I squared. What is the I squared equals to? Negative 1. So the whole thing becomes the negative radical 15. So good. How about division? Divide negative 3 plus 2i over I. Well, one thing we should know, we should not leave the denominator with I. So the denominator should not be a complex number with the I. So we have to get rid of the I in this case. What can we do? How can I get rid of the I in the bottom? I could multiply this by I, because I times I will becomes -1, no more I. But if I times the I in the bottom, what do I need to do on the top? I need to times the same I also. So it's I over I, which really means it's 1, right? So I distribute the I on the top. So I got the -3I plus 2I squared over the I squared. And since the I squared is equals to -1, so we will have a -3I minus 1 over the -1. So that really means is 3I plus 1. Oh no, I made a mistake, right? This I squared is -1, but I still have the 2 there. So it would be -2 instead. And so that would become 3I plus 2. Should I leave the answer like that? Or there is more to be done? Say again? Matthew? Okay, we have to switch them. It becomes 2 plus 3I, because we want to make it becomes A plus 3I form. All right, let's take a look at another one. If I want to divide, this time is 7 plus 4I, and then divided by 2 plus I. What can I do? Can I multiply both the top and the bottom by I? We cannot, because if we do so, then you will still have 2I plus I squared. So the I is still there. So what can I do? Multiply both top and the bottom by 2 plus I. Well, if I have 2 plus I squared, would I be able to get rid of the I? Using the formula, it would be A squared plus 2AB plus B squared. It doesn't get rid of the I. We will have 2 times I in the middle. What should I do? I times both the top and the bottom by what? 2 minus I. Someone just said 2 plus I. And we comment on that. Times both the top and the bottom of 2 minus I. And that is what we call the conjugate. And we are trying to create a situation having A plus B times A minus B. So on the top, we are going to FOIL that. So I have 14 minus 7I plus 8I minus 4I squared over, and in the bottom, I have A squared minus B squared. So that will give you 2 squared minus I squared. As you can see, I squared is -1, so we have no more I in the bottom. But if you just simply times it by the same thing, 2 plus I, it won't get rid of that. It won't get rid of the I. So it will give you, let's say, well, let's convert them first. 14 minus 7I plus 8I, and then plus 4. Over, in the bottom, that will becomes 4 plus 1. So finally, it will give you the 18 plus I over 5. Let's put that in the a plus bi form. So we separate this fraction, make it becomes 18 over 5 plus 1 over 5 I. So we can clearly identify which one would be the A and which one would be the B. Yes, Ariana? The negative 4i squared, are you saying? Okay, I squared is negative 1. So minus a negative 1, it becomes a plus 1. Everybody happy? Okay, now is your turn. Let's take a look. Number 10. That would be multiply the radical negative 5 times the radical negative 7. Number 11, multiply the radical negative 16 times the radical negative 4. And number 12, divide 3 minus 2i over 4i. Number 13, divide 6 plus 2i over the 4 minus 3i. All right, let's try this out.